The mission of North American Western Dressage is to encourage the progressive athletic development of the Western performance horse through systematic education as provided by the classical training pyramid, to increase awareness of dressage principles for the improvement of Western horses of all breeds, to develop Western dressage as a competitive equestrian art, and to protect the horse from the abuses that preclude his ability to perform with dignity. The result of Western dressage training is a horse that is attentive, intelligent, displaying nobility in his carriage, with movements that are rhythmic, supple, and elastic, willingly guided in perfect harmony with its rider and with the brilliance that he naturally displays when free. In 400 BC, Xenophon wrote the first of many books on the subject, much of which still applies today. These friezes from the Parthenon display the high level of horsemanship inspired by Xenophon and his teachings. But it wasn't until the Renaissance era that classical horsemanship was reborn. In Europe, a cultural movement began that caused a rebirth of the ancient Greek philosophies on the training of horses into the classical world. Meanwhile, the Spanish colonized the Americas, bringing horses and cattle with them, splitting the equestrian world in two. The Spanish horsemen, or vaqueros, developed a new style of horsemanship out of necessity, adapted to moving and working cattle quickly and effectively. The horses were quick, responsive, light, and brave, and gave the vaqueros the reputation of being master horsemen. The vaqueros branched up through Texas and California, bringing their traditions and way of training horses with them, sharing them to the American Indians and settlers. What distinguished the vaqueros was not their ethnicity, it was their pride in their excellent horsemanship. What they valued most was their highly trained vaquero horses, with a high level of responsiveness and fluidity of movement that gave them quickness and finesse in their work. As the use for horses for battle and transport faded almost entirely, the American cowboy gave way to industry and progress. Dressage was just beginning to emerge around the world as a competitive sport, and as the new age of Western horses came to be, the vaquero traditions were slowly lost to history. As dressage grew in popularity, small groups of riders came together that had dressage backgrounds, but primarily rode Western, and had no interest in chasing cows, racing around barrels, or crawling down the rail of a pleasure class. It wasn't long before someone finally coined the phrase, Western dressage. Interest quickly spread across the nation, but the growing discipline was struggling to have a cohesive vision. Several groups and associations formed to provide information and education to accommodate growing curiosity, all with their own ideas of what Western dressage is and should be. Clinicians and trainers began to emerge. It was becoming clear that Western dressage needed definition and structure quickly before it was completely rejected by the entire equestrian world. North American Western Dressage, founded in 2012, is a registered non-profit organization in the state of Minnesota, is currently in process to receive a federal 501c3, and is a proud affiliate of the United States Equestrian Federation. With lots of input from USDF and USEF professionals, North American Western Dressage created a comprehensive rulebook to give the infant discipline the structure it needed to be a success. The Western Dressage tests are based entirely on the classical training pyramid and span 10 levels. Although the tests are unique, Level 1 through Level 3 is equivalent to the movement requirements in introductory level through first level dressage. These foundation levels are similarly designed to develop the horse's confidence in moving forward with a steady tempo and rhythm, the rider's quality of communication with the horse, connection to the bit, impulsion, and straightness. Stretching circles in both directions are seen in both Level 2 and Level 3, further confirming the horse's willingness to accept contact before advancing to the collection required of Level 4. Levels 4, 5, and 6 increases the rider's influence over the horse's balance and straightness, and the degree of engagement is increased. This creates a greater degree of suppleness, elasticity, and balance as required for collection, more challenging lateral movements, and flying changes of lead. In Level 6, the horse and rider should perform in perfect harmony with nearly imperceptible aids, showing an increased degree of balance, definite lightness of the forehand, and greatly increased engagement of the hindquarters. Levels 7 through 10 introduce movements that further challenge the horse's athletic ability and correctness in training. The canter pirouettes and tempi changes increase with difficulty through these levels, with piaffe and passage in Level 10. There is still discussion on the possibility of adding rollback turns and other similar Western elements to levels 7 through 10. Which of these movements are added and at which level is dependent on if they can be integrated with traditional dressage movements and are true to the classical training pyramid. The growth of the discipline is promoted by licensing Western dressage shows throughout the nation. Licensed judge applications are approved for USEF licensed dressage judges that are current North American Western Dressage premium or professional members in good standing. They must be at least 25 years old and have a passing written exam score of 85% or higher. Competitors must be current North American Western Dressage premium or professional members and are separated into 3 divisions: adult, adult amateur, and youth. Riders with disabilities who require specialized equipment must hold a dispensation certificate, FEIPE card, or USEF para-equestrian classification card. Riders with qualifying scores may compete in regional level competitions as well as national championships. Classes are open to riders on horses, ponies, or mules of any origin and over 36 months of age. Horses competing at level 6 and above may be at least 6 years of age, and horses competing at level 10 must be at least 7 years of age. Horses may not compete in more than 2 consecutive levels and in no more than 3 classes per day. Following the class, random saddlery, bit, and spur inspections ensure that regulations are being followed. In all Western dressage tests, horses are shown in a Western stock saddle of conservative style. Breast collars are optional. Snaffle bridles, as well as bitless bridles that meet North American Western Dressage regulations, may be used in all levels. Snaffles must be smooth in texture and with a minimum diameter of 12 millimeters. Gags, pellums, elevators, and kimberwicks are some examples of bits that are not permitted. Curb bridles are allowed in levels 5 through 10 only and must be used with one hand. The bit must be smooth in texture and the curb strap must be properly adjusted. Training aids or accessories not included in the standard equipment are not permitted. Just like dressage, the tests are ridden in a standard dressage arena and movements are scored from 0 to 10. Collective marks include gaits, impulsion, suppleness, harmony, and the rider's position, correctness, and effectiveness. The gaits of the horse should be free, unconstrained, pure, and elastic, with a clearly defined tempo and rhythm, and should cover the ground with great fluidity, lightness, regularity, and ease of motion. The horse's entire way of moving should be united, flexible, supple, even, and well balanced. The horse's evenness and balance allows him to move in absolute straightness on straight lines, and with an even bend that matches the curvature of the line on which he is traveling. The gaits should be lively and active, their quality being maintained through proper and progressive athletic development, and never giving the impression of having developed unnaturally or through artificial means. The gaits should never have the appearance of being tense, quick, resistant, or abrupt, nor should the gaits appear labored, lethargic, or fatigued. The gaits are described as jog/trot and lope/canter, to decrease confusion for riders who may come from either the dressage or from the Western world. The qualities of collected, working, medium, and extended gaits, as well as the qualities of the lateral movements, are a mirror of the expectations in a traditional dressage arena. With memberships nearing the thousands, there is no denying that Western dressage is coming. It has spawned a multitude of associations, groups, and clubs across the United States, Canada, and across the world. Several breed organizations are hosting Western dressage classes, and schooling shows are being held at farms and stables in nearly every state. With the help of our friends at the United States Equestrian Federation and the multitude of dressage instructors, trainers, and judges around the world who has stepped forward, North American Western Dressage will stay true to our commitment to establish a discipline that is entertaining, beautiful, and most importantly, a preservation of history.